here at Doak Campbell Stadium. We are talking about a lot. Hurricane Zeta this Wednesday. Currently it is 81 degrees here. If we take a look at our now, we can see we have a lot of rain in the area to our west, but we are talking about a lot with Hurricane Zeta right now, which has just made landfall here. And tonight we're going to be at 77 degrees as we head into tomorrow, 82. And up next on FSU weather, we're tracking Zeta all night here, guys. So that's what's right here right now on FSU weather, Wednesday edition.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? I am meteorologist Tyler Sherrod.
And I'm meteorologist Shane Wilder.
Yeah, Hayden got a little bit distracted with his iguana friend over there on the desk. A little bit of backstory with that, maybe?
Yeah, actually, his name is Pork Chop. Despite he's a vegetarian, though, and he's also French Canadian.
Oh, that's nice. Very random, but let's move on to something a little more important for our broadcast, and that being Hurricane Zeta, which is currently making landfall in southern Louisiana right now.
Yeah, right now it's going up the parishes, bringing those risk of high winds, storm surge, all of it in those little marshlands.
Yeah, and as it continues to move through, like you said, the flood risk is what's going to be really important because Louisiana, especially the southern parts of Louisiana, are very low-lying, so very easy to flood those regions. And then New Orleans, also susceptible to flooding. As we move up further through the northern parts of the southeast, the storm surge won't be a factor at all, and that flooding won't be quite as important as it is in Louisiana.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that low water threat. However, this is moving so fast because it's getting absorbed into an extratropical system. And so Atlanta's actually under a tropical storm watch. It's been a while since I've seen that.
Yep, and to talk more about Hurricane Zeta, we're going to send it off to Zach at the wall.
Yeah, thank you guys. And for tonight on our FSU Weather Hurricane Center, we have a really busy night. There's a lot of serious stuff to get to. So let's get right to the satellite and radar. There is Zeta. Currently, it has made landfall just about an hour ago, and it is zipping off to the north and the east, right around 22 miles an hour. Wide plume of scattered showers and thunderstorms associated with the storm. Right now, here's the current cone. Currently, like I said, a Category 2. Only 1 mile an hour away from being that Category 3. It's at 110 miles an hour, the pressure down to 972 millibars. Continuing that track very, very quickly, by this time or even a little bit after this time tomorrow, it will be near or off the coast of Maryland up towards New Jersey there. It's going to be moving really, really quickly. So the only good part of the storm, it's not going to be too slow. There's a good, nice close-up image basically centered right over New Orleans this evening. This red indicating the really high, cold cloud tops. This is a really intense thunderstorm activity. It's a very healthy and strong system. Here on the radar, you can see now as the eye wall starts to track to the north here, you can see just how quickly this is moving and the time, of course, up there in the upper left-hand corner. As of right about 6 o'clock, New Orleans, you are experiencing that eye wall right now. So those strongest winds, if you are not seeing them there in the city, you will be very, very soon. And that's going to continue basically right up the interstate there, and it's going to continue on through Mississippi and Alabama in the next couple of hours. Upper level water vapor also once again showing those bright, that fuchsia kind of color, extremely moist. These are vigorous thunderstorms. This is still a really healthy system. And the speed of this system is really going to help contribute to, it's going to prevent a lot of the land weakening here in the short term. It takes a while for these systems to wind down, so we're still going to be seeing hurricane and tropical storm conditions well up here to the north and the east. Wind speeds right now locally, really see that east to west flow. It says 28 miles an hour here in New Orleans. I figure it's probably a little bit faster than that. Biloxi, 32 sustained winds. Of course, gusts are going to be way higher. A little bit closer here locally to the New Orleans area, you can see the eye wall really showing up well on the radar here as it comes up near the 6 o'clock hour. That crescent moon shape facing downward, that is the eye wall. And of course the eye, the clear area just to the south. But yeah, as we get here towards New Orleans, Pearl River, it's going to come here in the next hour or so, and down towards Triumph, you guys are experiencing some pretty bad conditions. Over here towards New Orleans, 26-mile-an-hour wind speed sustained. Jean Lafitte, it's about 30 miles an hour, and down towards Port Sulphur, 41-mile-an-hour sustained. Of course, there's gusts. Earlier, the radar was picking up on gusts well over 100 miles an hour. Now, of course, that was up in the atmosphere a little bit, so not necessarily near the surface. However, we still have those continuing with the tropical storm and hurricane warnings through the area. We're going to take a look more now at the southeast and around the country, but we'll be back to track Zeta a little bit later. Tyler, what do we got next?
Thank you, Zach. We're going to look at the southeast specifically, and we're talking more about Hurricane Zeta because, of course, Louisiana is part of our southeast region. So first, looking at Florida, we have those warmer temperatures here. Tampa's at 85 degrees, Miami's at 84. As we move northward, we start to see things cool down. Atlanta's at 76 degrees and cloudy right now, so not looking too bad at the moment. But as we move to the west, New Orleans obviously have all that rain associated with Hurricane Zeta. Temperatures at 78 degrees. And you can also see where that cold front is right now in the western part of Louisiana with those temperatures dropping. Shreveport at 58 degrees, Little Rock at 51. And as we look at those dew points, the dryness right here behind that cold front really shows you the location there, because as a cold front moves through a region, not only does it cool things down, but it also makes conditions a lot drier. So you have very pleasant, sunny, and cool days after the passage of that cold front. But the rest of the southeast, very moist from all that moisture being brought in by Hurricane Zeta. And really, you can see that rotation of Zeta with these counterclockwise wind speeds starting at Tallahassee, 9 miles per hour, a little bit on the outskirts, but you can still kind of see that rotation right there. New Orleans having wind speeds at 31 miles per hour sustained at the moment. And there is Hurricane Zeta right now on the satellite radar. You can see some of this yellow in the background here. That's a tornado watch for those regions close to Hurricane Zeta. And as we move up into upper Mississippi and Alabama, we're seeing some rain there, but not quite so intense with the wind speeds, but very rainy in the western part of our southeast. Today's storm outlook, this is mostly showing a chance for things like severe thunderstorms and possibly tornadic activity, not showing so much whether hurricanes are going to impact you, because obviously New Orleans right now is getting hit pretty hard by Hurricane Zeta, so they don't really have a slight chance of a storm outlook. They're having a storm right now. Over the next 48 hours, you're seeing how rapidly Hurricane Zeta is moving through the southeast. By the time we get through early Friday, really not impacting the southeast at all, going all the way off the coast of Connecticut and Rhode Island up in the northeast. For tonight, though, you're going to see that cold front actually push through New Orleans after Hurricane Zeta clears out, bringing some cooler conditions, but still chances for some rain and thunderstorms from the outskirts of Hurricane Zeta still impacting them. And as we move to the east towards Tallahassee, we're going to get down to 77 degrees tonight. We're not going to see the impacts of that cold front until we get into Friday. And that's the same story for Georgia and South Carolina as well. They're not going to see those cooler temperatures until Thursday night and getting into Friday morning. For tomorrow's forecast, looking at the temperatures right there, Tallahassee, 82 degrees. New Orleans are going to get up to 68 degrees for their high, and even cooler out west towards Shreveport at 54. Now we're going to pass things off to Riley with our first local look of the day.
Exactly. Well, that cold front that's moving through, we do have some signs of seeing it here in our local regions, but if we take a look at Doak Campbell Stadium right now, we can see, look at those clouds, a little ominous. That is looking at the direction of Hurricane Zeta right now, and if we take a look at our current conditions, we're sitting around 81 degrees with mostly cloudy conditions. Winds are from the southeast at 9 miles per hour, but looking at our radar here, we're starting to see some cloud cover move in from the west, and that is associated with the outer bands of Hurricane Zeta. While we're staying dry right now, I mean, there's a sign things will be changing for our day tomorrow. Now, taking a look here at Hurricane Zeta, really moving ashore right now. That eye wall is really starting to move into the New Orleans city itself. So the worst of the conditions are happening now in New Orleans and will continue for about the next hour or so with this storm. But it is moving very quickly, which is good news for them there. Now, today's storm outlook, we are seeing the chance at some thunderstorms here in Tallahassee. The farther west you go, the greater the chance for those storms increases as you get closer to Zeta. Temperatures right now, though, across the region, we're in the low 80s here in Tallahassee, up towards Valdosta, getting into the mid 80s at 85, staying in the low 80s along the coast as well. As we head into our dew points, it's a very thick atmosphere out there right now. Down in Apalachicola, we're nearing the 80s in dew point temperature, really feeling muggy out there, and a lot of that is because of the tropical air mass moving in because of Hurricane Zeta right now. If we take a look at our wind speeds, they tell the story of Zeta as well, moving essentially in most regions from the southeast, and that's showing that we are on the northeast side of Zeta's circulation. And if we take a look at our future cast, we can see storms do move in the outer bands associated with Zeta as we head into tomorrow around mid-afternoon into the evening before conditions do clear out and we do get some nice weather on the backside of this. We can see, you know, it might be a little bit of too much of a rainy day to do much tomorrow, but as we head into our Friday and our Halloween on Saturday, some dry conditions, which is some great news for people that want to enjoy their weekend, absolutely. So if we take a look at our week ahead here, we see the rain chances at 80% for our Thursday. As we head into the weekend, though, we're talking about some very nice temperatures, getting down into the 70s with some dry weather. And don't forget to turn back your clocks for your day on Sunday. And as we head to early next week, also talking about some very nice, dry, cool weather there. Now we're going to send things off to Hayden for our national forecast.
Yeah, absolutely. Riley said it best. There's a lot going on in the southeast with Hurricane Zeta, Tallahassee, and there's also a lot going on nationally, so let's get right to it. So the most obvious feature we're seeing is this big plume of blue over the Central Plains, and that is behind that cold front that is sweeping into the New Orleans area behind that cold front later today. Furthermore, we do have to see some much cooler air up in the Great Plains that will start to sink down. And we do have a bit of a warming trend out west with 70 degrees in Los Angeles, 70 degrees in San Francisco, so this will help contribute to a lot of those fire concerns that we're talking about. And speaking of those fire concerns, look at our dew points. 24 Salt Lake City, 29 Denver, Los Angeles 54, San Francisco 47. You get the picture, it's very dry. And let's contrast that. 74 New Orleans, hurricane, that'll tell you right there. 73 Tallahassee, 74 Miami. Just because it's Miami, you got all that moisture. So the Southeast is a contrast to what much of the nation is going on, a last fight of summer versus winter, if you will. So far, wind gusts, obviously very strong around that hurricane, 26 miles per hour. 26 miles per hour in New Orleans, obviously much stronger, is very possible. South flow ahead of that stationary front, and if you look across most of the northern tier of the nation, you'll see some northerly components bring in some cooler air, and then also over the plains, you see a northwesterly component. This is really affecting some of that cool air into our picture, and that's what we'll see holiday weekend and on, which will be quite nice for our Tallahassee area. So I'm looking at our surface maps. This is very important, telling us what's going on at our surface. So also you have a hurricane symbol with Zeta. You see the stationary front, which will turn into a cold front shortly as this accelerates off to the northeast. And so we will get some cooler air funneling into the area. And then also a really interesting feature I want to talk about. So if you have any family in Midwest, yesterday and the day before, this upper level low is much stronger. We actually had a lot of ice accumulations in Oklahoma City. We have a friend who goes to Texas Tech in Lubbock. So it's a mess out there for the Central Plains, and it's starting to clear up. So this is a nice thing. So on our vapor, upper level water vapor, you get the picture. These dark pink colors represent the very high moisture content with the hurricane. Those strong winds funneling up moisture across the entire eastern seaboard and across the central and the western part, drier air coming in off the Mexican plateau into Dallas, and that will be our area. For our northeast, we are ahead of that warm front, and we have a cool troughing and showers into our area. Same thing with the Midwest, even some mixed precipitation, but overall pretty clear and docile weather compared to the southeast, which obviously has Zeta coming through, and this will roar through Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and the Appalachian Mountains, bringing in gusty winds. and that dying storm in the central plains will finally start to weaken off as it ends its wintry gasp on the nation. So for today's storm outlook, do expect a slight chance of severe thunderstorms with Zeta. Obviously, you will get some impacts there. And then for tonight's forecast, cool across the middle of the nation. Warm in our southeast, of course, ahead of that cold front hurricane. And then tomorrow will be on the tail end of that storm with 80s in Florida and 50s and 60s across most of the nation. Now we'll hand it off to Zach for his forecast.
Yeah, thanks, Hayden. Yeah, I mean, let's take a little bit of a closer look now at some of our, well, one of our favorite states, our favorite state here locally in Florida right now. Let's back up there. I don't know what happened. There's a nice look at Florida, right? For what's mostly clear. We have a couple of scattered showers there. We get down towards Port St. Lucie and such. We have a few scattered showers there. More noteworthy up here towards the Pensacola area, you're getting one of those outer bands from Hurricane Zeta. And that yellow color there, it's kind of hard to see, that is our tornado watch. So we do have to keep in mind that potential. Any of these little things any of these little cells that happen to come off the Gulf could be tornadic in nature just due to the wind shear in the environment. Take a little bit of a closer look there. There was a little cell that moved on shore. They have not warned that, but once again, keep an eye to the sky tonight. Have a way to get your warnings if you are anywhere here from the Panama City over towards the Pensacola and Mobile areas, just for that possibility of tornadoes. Scattered showers, once again, as we get here towards Gainesville and down towards Ocala. You're driving on the I-75 south tonight. Could see a few of those light showers. Moving south once again towards Lake Wales, Placid Lakes. Still seeing some of those scattered showers, and of course over towards Tampa. Typical evening time showers there. Pretty dry right now in Miami. There locally. Not looking too bad. You might actually have a dry commute tonight. Speaking of Miami, you know, we only have that 20% chance today. Unfortunately, the dry weather is not going to last. Those storms are going to pick up tomorrow for 87 degrees. Tampa looking pretty nice. We have 87 for Thursday, and then cooling off. Wow, look at that, 78 on Friday. It might be feeling a little bit fall-like to you, at least here for locals. And once again, that only lasts for about a day before we go back up to the 80s. Orlando, 90 degrees and hot tomorrow, just like we're used to seeing in Florida. And then cooling off once again, we can see on Friday when that cold front comes through. Jacksonville, even more pronounced. We're going from 87 to 74, and then it's going to stick around through Saturday with those scattered showers and there's 70-degree highs. I'm going to be happy about that for sure. Moving over towards Pensacola, the high on Friday, 69 degrees. The sun is going to be shining bright. The hurricane will hopefully, at least in this area, be a distant memory. We're not expecting any impacts that are too severe as of right now. Tonight's forecast across the state, widespread 70s. We do have a little bit of an issue up here with the 50s that are showing up. Tonight's forecast will not be in the 50s. That is tomorrow night's forecast. However, yeah, just widespread 70s pretty much all around the area. We're going to keep those scattered storms around. And you can see the changing colors, the bright reds here all in the 80s, and the cold front really showing up there to the north. So, you know, overall, it's not too bad of a forecast. It's not too bad of a look here in Florida. Thankfully, we have once again dodged a hurricane, guys. You know, it could be a lot worse here in Florida.
Yeah, definitely. Getting lucky with that for sure, Zach. And we were all eyes on the Hurricane Zeta today, but we do have some other things to mention about. If we do take a look, just only 480 miles away out in Oklahoma from Louisiana, where they do have those hurricane warnings right now, there are ice storm warnings in effect, Hayden.
Yeah, ice storm warnings for sure. You don't really see those a lot, even in the winter. A lot of times it's either snow or it's a cold rain, but it takes special conditions to get ice, where it's warm aloft and freezing at the surface, and it can be a headache. I'll tell you what, I don't know if you saw some of those pictures.
Oh, I have. It's crazy how much ice actually accumulated there. I mean, a lot of those areas are going to be without power for quite a while from that storm. I saw, you know, it's almost like the ice coats things and it sculpts things over, makes it look very nice, actually. Pretty, but very dangerous if you are driving.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to stay off those roadways, and that system should be clearing up, and the planes should be starting to warming up. So just give it a day, or you'll be all right.
Definitely. We are seeing a lot of the country getting ready for this cold front, which is moving through our area, bringing a lot of cold Canadian air up from Canada, and this really is going to be cooling off places as far south as here along the Gulf Coast. So I know a lot of people have been looking forward to this first cold front of the season, and it looks like we're finally going to get it here.
Yep, just in time for the nick of Halloween, and Christmas will be here, and hopefully cooler air, and it's all coming very near and very soon. And so now, on that note, we'll take it off to our wall, and let's see what they say about their forecast.
Thanks, Hayden. We're going to take another look at Hurricane Zeta and the impacts it's making in Louisiana right now. We can see it just really booking across Louisiana already. This storm's moving fast. Last time I checked before our show started, it was moving at 22 miles per hour, and look now, it's sped up to 24 miles per hour. That's how fast it's moving. And those wind speeds, 110 miles per hour, so still a very intense hurricane at the moment. It's bringing a lot of rainfall to Louisiana. And as we zoom into that infrared satellite imagery, we see just how cold those cloud tops are and how intense this storm is, just really sitting right on top of Louisiana right now. The upper level water vapor showing just how moist the storm is. And really, when you're looking at hurricanes, the main factors are how warm the sea surface temperatures are to feel that hurricane, how strong is that wind shear that could possibly weaken it, and then you also, some people don't think about this too much, you need humidity as well to feel this hurricane. So really it's showing just how much humidity there is, even though it's now made landfall. So as we look at that satellite and radar, one of the things you want to pay attention to is this front right quadrant of the hurricane. That's one of the most dangerous parts of a hurricane, at least in this situation where it's making landfall, because you have winds pushing up here from the water. So not only do you have the winds associated with the hurricane moving at 110 miles per hour, but that storm's also booking it at 22 miles per hour as it's moving. So it really adds more wind speed to this upper right region over here in western Mississippi, and increasing the chances for some storm surge and also increasing the chances for tornadic activity. That's why you see this tornado watch here in yellow on the eastern side of the storm. So for our sustained wind speeds right now, New Orleans is at 28 miles per hour, moving in that easterly direction, and really got some really fast wind speeds here in Louisiana and southern Mississippi, and those wind gusts are going to be even faster. As we look once again at that IR satellite imagery, just seeing those really cold cloud tops, and let's zoom in a little bit closer at that satellite and radar in that region I was talking about. Gulfport right now seeing the worst of those storms. Pearl River also getting hit pretty hard as well. So really, it's moving very quickly. New Orleans, you can see, is getting impacted by the northern part of that eye wall now. As we started the show, New Orleans wasn't even getting hit by the eye wall. So things are moving really fast. Port Sulphur, still seeing high wind speeds at 41 miles per hour coming out of the southeast there. And you can really see that rotation, the counterclockwise rotation from Hurricane Zeta here on the map, and just how widespread these faster wind speeds are. And as we get into the northern part of Louisiana in Franklinton, only 18 miles per hour, but expect those wind speeds to start to catch up a little bit as that storm continues to move towards the northeast. And here is that tornado watch I was talking about here in the yellow, and that green was a flash flood watch. So flooding concerns with this as well. So still a huge threat here in the southeast for us. But let's pass things off to Riley, and he's going to give us more of a local look for what we can see here in Tallahassee.
Yes, definitely. And Hurricane Zeta is zipping along there. We'll be out of Louisiana by no time. A very weary hurricane place, so definitely somewhere that doesn't want to see any more storms. But if we take a look at our last local forecast of the night, we can see here the sun is starting to set here over Doak Campbell Stadium in those clouds which are associated with Hurricane Zeta right now. If we take a look at our current conditions, we're still checking at 81 degrees with mostly cloudy conditions, and temperatures across the region staying in the low 80s, closer towards the panhandle here. Up farther towards the northeast in Valdosta at 85 degrees right now. We're staying fairly dry across the region, even with the impending hurricane that will be bringing some wet weather to our region in the short term. Now, if we take a look at our wind speeds, they're fair. They're around 10 miles per hour across the region, most of which showing the story of Hurricane Zeta this evening. And if we take a look at our satellite and radar, we can see some cloud cover is starting to move into our area associated again with Hurricane Zeta. And if we take a look at our satellite and radar nationally, like I was talking about before, here's Hurricane Zeta, but out here is that low pressure system that's been producing a lot of winter weather for portions of the Central Plains out into the Rockies. That's dumped a lot of snow so far. Now, if we take a look at our future forecast back here in Tallahassee, we're seeing those storms very spotty, starting to roll in tomorrow midday into tomorrow evening before we do start to clear out for a nice weekend ahead. Now, again, with tomorrow's forecast, 9 a.m., we're going to still be cloudy, but as we head out into that 1 p.m., 5 p.m. time frame, do expect some precipitation, and we have some game days to talk about. We have girls soccer versus Duke here in Tallahassee. Going to expect some drizzle for that game tomorrow afternoon with a temperature of 73 degrees, so we will be cooling off here, which is some good news for people that want some cooler weather. Out Sunday, we're going to have another women's soccer game against Clemson. Temperature is going to be a little drier for that, and we're going to be seeing temperatures get up there a little bit closer to 80 degrees, which will be nice. Now, if we take a look at our week ahead here, we can see our biggest shot for rain will be the day tomorrow, where we are expecting an 80% chance of storms that will be associated again with Hurricane Zeta. And we're going to see temperatures cool off on the backside of Zeta. We're going to get a cold front move through. We're going to be seeing temperatures in the low to mid 70s for our weekend. Have an amazing Halloween on Saturday, dry conditions there. And Sunday, don't forget to turn back your clocks. Staying dry for the beginning of next week as well. Let's head it off to our closing desk now with Zach and Tyler.
Yeah, thanks, Riley. You know, we had a pretty action-packed show tonight. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's easy to kind of get overwhelmed, but, you know, if you do happen to be watching us from the area that's getting impacted by Hurricane Zeta tonight, stay inside, prepare for those power outages, make sure that, you know, nobody's outside, nothing sensitive or is outside where it can get impacted by the storm.
And another thing I wanted to mention is I talked a lot about tornado watches, and I know you did as well. A tornado watch isn't necessarily means a tornado is coming for you or anything like that. That just means to watch out. There's a possibility a tornado could develop. Tornado warning is whenever you really want to be aware that a tornado could strike your region. So I just wanted to reiterate that for anyone who didn't know the difference between a watch and a warning.
Absolutely, and we expect those watches and warnings to kind of move up with the storm. There'll probably be some more watches issued for the Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, maybe even North Carolina. I mean, there's places in North Carolina. Asheville, North Carolina right now has a tropical storm warning. It's probably something they've never seen before. So.
Yeah, and it's really just going to book it through there really fast.
Yeah.
And really just going to be done impacting the U.S. by the end of the day, Thursday, beginning of the day on Friday. So it's here right now. And as you saw throughout the show, it was starting to move fairly quickly. But be sure to follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/FSU Weather.
Yeah, and like us on Facebook, facebook.com/FSU Weather. Get our updates there.
And also, we're live on YouTube Monday through Friday from 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. on youtube.com/FSU Weather.
And follow us on Instagram at FSU Weather. Send us those weather pictures or any damage reports you might get from the storm, and we will make sure to include them on our next show here live on air.
Yep. Luckily, here in Tallahassee, we're not going to see many impacts at all from Hurricane Zeta. We're going to have some rainy conditions tomorrow, but the weekend's looking great, and then Monday, going to get even cooler.
Absolutely. We have that cold front, and thankfully, we dodged another storm. But I'm student meteorologist Zach Richards.
And I'm meteorologist Tyler Sherrod. Have a great night, everyone.